This conference will now be recorded.
You see something there? There it is. And then you turn it into this young lady right over there. Okay? Okay. Okay.
What are you ready? Oh, that's here. Yes.
Just, it was cool when I got out there and waited.
Brooks, it's Mr. Brooks, right? Mr. Brooks. Yes. Yes. Mr. Dan, I'm putting down for attendance. I mean, they call them after. What's the kid? Take my mind.
No, that's okay.
I don't want to be associated with the opposition. I have to supervise you there. I go home, way over there. Oh, gosh.
I'm gonna be here all day.
Well, I'll be putting it in the drawer. We'll go get you water. It's too hot. You gotta fill out a card, you can speak.
Do I?
That's a new process.
Oh, okay.
Close to this about.
Good morning to you. You what? Yeah.
Well, yeah. But what else?
Oh.
But I can.
I got to get it in jail. Great. How's it going today?
Good.
It's Robert Edo, I live in Palm Springs.
Oh, well,
Nice to meet you.
you
What's your name?
Kurt McCullough.
Hey, Kurt.
At one.
You from North?
No, I live here year round. Oh, yeah, this.
He's standing up. Behind you.
Is that really changed?
Well.
Morning.
Think? Is he in?
Bring it up. Think that's good?
Try not to miss it. You research where it was. What can I?
Might have been.
I noticed I do have. Yeah, I can't see it. Let me work it. Yeah.
Call this meeting to order. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Couple announcements. The next regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors will take place Tuesday, August 29th, 2023 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive, Sebring, Florida, 33872. Please silence or turn off your cell phones now. And as many of you have already met, we have our new general manager with us today, Mr. Bossert, Raymond Bossert, and his family, his wife Christy, daughter Ava, and son Gavin. Thank you for coming. I'll take public comments on anything related to the consent agenda or an item that is not listed on the action agenda. Do we have any public comments?
Mr. Mark Camp.
Good morning. It's not on, is it?
Is it
Can you
light
hear it?
green?
Good morning.
Yep, John.
Good morning, Mark Camp, resident. And because of the time constraints, I'm going to read actually my concerns, and I would ask that the appropriate board member or the district person or even the attorney respond to my concerns. First, I must express some of my disappointment with the board when it comes to attention to details, specifically for these meetings. When I was on the board, one of my many responsibilities as the president was to ensure that an action agenda was complete and that all supporting information was posted on that action agenda and the website, thus keeping the community informed with accurate information. Recently, we've had missing agendas and details, in many cases, no supporting information whatsoever. Some examples: April 25th, May 9th, May 30th, June 13th, June 27th. Out of the 10 previous board members, 6 of them had limited or no information in them, but yet we want to keep the people informed. Now I would like to discuss the board meeting that tentatively approved the budget on June 27th. Just for your information, there was no information on the website in the packet for June 27th, so members of the community could not review it prior to the meeting. I challenge anyone to find that information under the agenda website, and I will even give you my laptop after this meeting. I did a public records request for that information and did receive the information a week after the meeting had taken place. It was mentioned also at several meetings that a tentative budget needed to be done by July 11th to meet the ordinance. I'm not sure what ordinance that is. So you pushed through a tentative budget on June 27th for approval. I'm sure that Mr. Schumacher can assist me with an answer as to why the July 11th date was such a critical date. I find it kind of strange that we had 2 attorneys, Mr. McClure and Mr. Schumacher, over the past 12 years that never picked up on this error. And I do know that mistakes do happen. I also am a little surprised that I heard that nothing from the 5 board members questioning the July 11th date and why it was necessary. I'm not an attorney, but I also read the Highlands County ordinance, and I believe that the Board of Supervisors need to adopt the final budget by August 31st. I also believe that the Sun Lakes Policy Manual states August 31st as well. I know the final adoption is necessary to be advertised in the newspaper, so I asked the question once again, why was the July 11th a drop dead date? You had additional budget meetings scheduled for future agendas, and this allowed you time to advertise and meet the August 31st date. On today's agenda, you have under item 7C, it states, adopt the proposed budget. Will that be the final budget, or will it be the August 29th meeting that's been also advertised as the final budget? On another note, I asked the district for information on Friday, July 14th, when the term limits ended for the Board of Supervisors. As of today, I have none of that information. As far as board professionalism, I have to hit that as well. I suggest to some of the board members, listen to the audios of past meetings and listen to the unprofessional and attacks on one another. You need to work together. It amazes me that some of the board members are talking under their breath and that the mic is picking up every single word, some of them very condescending. Since I'm running out of time, I will only cover one more issue. It's been brought to the attention, it's still unresolved. A website is only as good as the up-to-date information that you provide on it. And we spent a lot of money and time revising that website, and there's still numerous issues. Here's a little example. The members golf area, specifically the members golf area, still has information from 2021, 2022, and which it means the rates for all of the memberships as well as the directories are all outdated. Nothing is on there for 2023. Still, nothing's updated. The district financials, I looked at the district financials, I looked at last year's budget, 21, 22, and there's 4 pages. There's approximately 30 pages missing. How do you expect people to understand what's going on when you have an approved budget of 4 pages on your website? Okay, and finally, I would greatly appreciate at least the response to the July 11th deadline requirement for a tentative budget so that I can better understand why it's necessary to push this through. Perhaps Mr. Schumacher or some board member can assist me on that. And I'd also like to get an idea when we're going to have the updates properly done to the website and the links linked to the proper locations. Thank you very much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Well, first off, it's my understanding that the documents have been on the website. I'm not sure what you saw or didn't see and what site you went to, but I'm being assured that the packet was on the website.
The 27th you're referring to?
Yes.
Would you like me to show it to you now? I can put it on the screen.
No, not right now, but we will
Okay,
get,
I would suggest you go to the agenda on the 27th.
27th is fine.
It ends
the
at
27th
page,
is fine. It's there. It's been
it
there.
ends on page 2. No, you got the package. The board got the package. The people did not get the package.
It was on
Oh,
the
that's right.
website.
No, he's right.
You can go to it right now. It's not there. I'm not going to argue with you. It stops at
We'll
page
look-
211.
We'll look in it.
Thank you.
As far as the date, Coral, I don't know if you've got your documentation with you, but the dates that were established were because of statutes from the state that said that we needed to have these dates done so that we could advertise a tentative budget. You're right when you say that the August is the final, when we have to have a final budget. But these are dates that have to be met by state statute. If I remember, it was state.
That's correct.
Okay.
And
Okay,
the
didn't-
July 11th was not the deadline. We had June 25th, we only finalized the budget. We didn't adopt anything. The adoption today is only a tentative proposed budget.
Okay.
And the final budget will be adopted on the 29th of August, which meets that 31st of August deadline.
Okay.
And there are ordinances, section 9-153, and in our policy manual, D1003, clearly outlines when the budget needs to be done and the rate changes that need to be approved at the same time as the budget.
Okay. Can I ask a question? And I appreciate the response. The ordinance that I looked at doesn't mention anything about a July 11th date, nor does the
I don't know where you picked up the July 11th date. That is not on my timeline.
The July 11th date was mentioned in about
did
a dozen meetings, and that was why you had to approve the tentative
No, the July
budget.
11th date was not, that was just a date of another possible budget meeting, but since it was finalized in June, there was no need for a July 11th
Okay.
meeting.
This is probably not the place to get into it. I can give you the date stamp, the time stamp. It was referred to as the ordinance had to be met by July 11th.
I
You
may have
moved
misspoke,
the
but I do
meeting to
believe
the
I
20,
did
you
say
moved
that
the meeting to the 27th, and understandably, because there were you're trying to accommodate. I just don't understand where this July 11th date ever came from.
Neither do I.
It was, I may have.
It's
could
been,
be
it
that
was
I-
mentioned in like 8 meetings, and it says, in order to stay with the ordinance, we have to do this, and this is why we're moving it to the 27th. That's all I'm saying.
No, this is our regular scheduled meeting.
Okay,
We'll
well,
look
it's,
at-
it's
we'll look at-
public information, and it's on the recordings.
Mark, I'll look into it.
Yeah, I'm just,
I
no,
may have misspoken.
you know? So there was a reason why it was pushed to the 11th. Somebody came up with this.
I understand. I'm saying maybe I
Okay,
misspoke.
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I don't mean to be argumentative, but if we're going to be talking to the public and then putting dates like this on an important budget meeting,
I understand.
shouldn't we have it accurate?
I understand. I'll look into it again.
Okay, thank you. When can I expect an answer on the website?
I'm saying that the website was properly done, and if Dossie, if you stop in and see Dossie, she can show you.
The
where-
website, the last year's budget or the current budget is not correct. It hasn't been correct from the beginning. He's right about that.
You even have,
It's only the summary, top 5-6 pages.
Yeah.
If you look at the 24 budget that's in there, it's like 35, 40 pages. If you look at the 23 approved budget, it's 6 pages. It just wasn't put in, it wasn't put in its entirety. He's correct about that.
I will sit with Darcy or whomever else you say, and I will show you what I'm talking about, because clearly people aren't looking at the website and reading it correctly. And I would expect and will expect an apology at the next meeting saying that it was on the 27th website agenda, because it isn't there, and I can show it to you in 2 minutes. Thank you.
Any other public comments? Yes, sir.
Name.
Morning, Dave Martin, 5925 Orion Drive. Welcome, Colonel Bossert.
Yes, sir.
And your family. Welcome to Sun and Lakes. Just met you. Be brief. This is a comment on a safety issue of a petition follow-up. I'll follow up with the Colonel about a speed bump and hopefully some reflectors on Orion Drive where it curves, makes a curve left and right onto Arduna. It's conducive to going faster because it's a straight road. But the other day at 3 a.m., someone took out my neighbor's mailbox, took out my sprinkler system, my yard, flipped over both ditches and landed up in another neighbor's yard. Someone could have got killed. So it's a safety issue. I know that the people that live here probably wouldn't like one of those annoying speed bumps on Arduna. However, she's had 6 mailboxes taken down in the years she's lived there, and now it's escalated. It could have been really bad. It missed my car, thank God, and thank God the lady wasn't hurt. It wasn't killed, in the wreck. But anyway, if he can I'll follow up with Colonel. Again, welcome, and thank you for the donuts and the candy and the coffee.
Thank you, sir. We'll look into it.
Edward Hummel.
Wow.
There is a time limit, right? Hey, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, sir.
Not now.
Hey, sir. I'll take care of it. We'll get with you, sir.
So I'll start with what happened.
Your name, please.
Edward Hummel, 5508 Granada Boulevard. Been here 5 years. I'll start with what happened yesterday. Most of you probably have your golfing. I have my walking and hiking, which takes me down into the Sun and Lakes Preserve area, okay? So my concerns, one of my concerns is the Sun and Lakes Park Preserve area and also the area of Columbus Boulevard, which remains still in disrepair, okay? I was down there on Sunday and you could hear normally semi-automatic weapons fire in the area, and that's normal. That's coming from the Avon Park Lakes area. I have an email from the county park stating that they did not put an entrance at gate 8 because of fear, because of the weapons fire, okay? However, now, that was Sunday night, I was down there hiking Columbus Boulevard. It's a wonderful hiking area now that has been shut off. But also what we found on Columbus Boulevard was apparently a truck or the kids pulled down the barrier that was there, okay? So with the automatic, semi-automatic weapons fire, I left the area at 7:25 p.m. But I came back on Monday to hike Columbus Boulevard. But what I did notice at that time is that there were 51 bullet holes in the stop sign at Columbus Boulevard. Okay? Then what I observed was that across the way, the road barriers were down and there were bullet holes in them. Then on the road marker on the left-hand side on Balboa, there were bullet holes on them. So what has now happened is that that area of Columbus and Balboa has become a shooting range. So I got the idea after my hike and I needed to cool down, I'll call the sheriff's department. And I called in a report to the sheriff's department and this non-emergency, and they told me stay there and they'll dispatch a deputy. So I pulled out my camping chair and crashed out, cooled down at the corner of Balboa and Columbus and waited for a deputy. And I went about an hour, 15 minutes, finally got a telephone call from a deputy who I asked to spell his name. And he said that I had requested his telephone call, which I did not. I was calling in asking for deputy assistance over the bullet holes and the shooting into the county park. And after explaining that very briefly, what the deputy responded to me was, he will put in an order for a new stop sign at Balboa. Okay? So if you get a new stop sign on Columbus Boulevard, it is stopping the traffic from Columbus. I want credit, okay, for that stop sign, okay?
Appreciate
But
it.
of course, since the deputy never came there, he has no idea that for 9 months, Columbus doesn't function, okay? And only you folks know when Columbus is going to function. Now, I asked it if this is timed, okay? Prior to this, and I'm going to give you a copy of the email to the sheriff's department that I sent to the sheriff when I came back
That's 5
home.
minutes.
Thank you.
Okay, when I came back home, I sent an email to Sheriff Blackman. I will give you a copy.
Okay, thank you. I can tell you that part of the reason Columbus is still shut down was because FEMA had not investigated the problems that we had from the hurricane. That has subsequently been done. We are out right now, a request for proposal on repairing the road and the swells. We hope to have that back, I believe, within the next
Should be
week
30
or
days.
so.
Should be 30-day window, sir, for
30
RFP.
day.
Yeah.
Okay, and as soon as we get that, then we can decide who to award the contract to and get it repaired. But I will take a copy of your thing that you sent to the letter because we happen to have someone here that might be able to assist us on that.
Okay, there's the copy of the email to the sheriff. Who gets that? Thank you.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Kurt McLaugh.
I checked her
No.
He's on the action agenda.
Robert Edlow.
Stop signs. Is that our property?
Morning, good to see you. It's been a while since I've been here due to health reasons, but I'm back and back at work and love the community. I know you all got your hands full of violations and security with problems. Point being I'm going to make today is I'd like to see something more done seriously and quickly about violations of certain people on Ponce de Leon. I actually talked to Bob in security about the gentleman who rents a house who continuously repairs his autos and many autos in his driveway. He's still doing it as of yesterday. I actually contacted the government locally, and they were sending somebody out to investigate. So I also have a problem with the people in back of me drive their car around their house, parked twice yesterday, 2 trucks in the back, almost on the easement. Mr. Carrack knows the people, we've had problems with them before. They were disruptive to animal that was taken away from them. My wife had trespassing charges and went to jail because she went over and fed the dog, tried to save it. Thanks to Mr. Carrack. He helped us out in that instance. And I think that things, when people do problems and have violations, they should have 24 hours to accept changes. And you also get serious and fine these people or tell them that if they do not correct these, the fines will increase rapidly. I'm talking maybe $100 to $500. We don't need people in the community who violate the codes. We don't need them here. It's disruptive to people. I have a business in my house where people come on booking.com. And who'd want to stay at my place if they see people driving trucks around the backyard? They could leave gas,
You
oil.
explained that to Bob Hild also.
So do something quickly to these people.
Right now, we are giving one notice and spining on subsequent, if they're being cited for the same reason again, they are fined.
I
Not
know
going
that.
back
I
and
had security
repeating them.
come out Sunday and took pictures of the gentleman with 2 trucks on the property. I know him. I talked to him. He'll do what he wants to do. He doesn't care about it. He's got tires in the backyard, appliances. He continues to junk his property, doesn't care about his own property, as well as the person that rents down the street who uses his auto repair place.
Do you have the address there?
I can get it to you today.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I love the community. Congratulations on your new position here.
Thanks, sir.
I know you'll be very successful. And thank you very much. Good to see everybody again.
Glad you're back. Any other public comments? Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Call a vote?
Supervisor Brooks.
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips.
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin.
Yes.
President Herrick.
Yes. And we have messages from Scott Carrack.
Good morning, staff, board members, and residents. Scott Kerouac, Highlands County Commissioner, District 3. Just a couple of things to report on this morning. I know some of y'all may have seen the paper. I'm still fighting for Schumacher Road and some funding there. I know I previously reported to you that I was able to secure $100,000 in funding in this present budget cycle that we're in. I put in a request for $125,000 this coming budget cycle for the 23-24 fiscal year. and also another $125,000 for the following fiscal year, to give us $350,000 is what our estimated cost is to pave Schumacher Road halfway to meet where you folks would extend Cortez out to. So hopefully with some success this year to get the $125,000 in this coming budget cycle earmarked for Schumacher Road, that will give us the ability to go ahead and start the design phase next fiscal year and work on relocating the utilities that we spoke about before. That road has to be shifted to the north about 30 feet. So we're going to start working on that preliminary stuff starting next year. And I guess my suggestion would be to you folks, maybe in your budget forecasting and what have you, that you need to be looking at probably your 24, 25, possibly end of your 23, 24 fiscal year of budgeting for your cost of extending Cortez out to Schumacher. So I'm going to continue to fight for funding like I have been to get this done. I know it's been talked about for a number of years, so we will continue to do that. And other than that, we're in budget time like you folks are, doing our best. Some of our budget meetings, we've been able to reduce some of the department budgets and what have you. We'll continue to work on that. Our latest estimates from the property appraiser's office that most folks are going to see about a 10% increase in their property values this year. I don't think you will see the increase the following year after that because, as you know, the market is making a little bit of a shift here. Homes aren't selling as quickly, not selling for over list price like they were. So I think you will see property values go down for the 24-25 year, but those values lag 1 year behind. So we're going to continue to work to put together the best budget that we can. Our commission is hoping to reduce the millage rate again this year like we did last year. So there'll be more to come on that, but we're getting close. And I'd be glad to answer any questions that staff, board, or residents have at this time.
Well, just thank you for your support at the meetings and your efforts to get our funding for Schumacher. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a priority of mine. I explained to staff and the other commissioners, of course, I have no authority by myself like you. It takes 3 of us to do anything.
Right.
But, I reminded them of the amount of property that the county has sold out here, and that I feel that it's our responsibility to address Schumacher Road and to create a southern entrance and exit point for your community. Because as you know, the only county road that we have is your main Sun and Lake Boulevard, and we know how crowded that has become. So being able to facilitate that southern entrance off of Schumacher Road will in turn take some load off of Sun and Lake Boulevard, which is our responsibility. So if that load continues to increase over time, which one would naturally think it's going to, because there's development going on out here, the county would have to look at accommodating that flow on Sun and Lake Boulevard, which I can assure you would be much more expensive than $350,000 to pave half of Schumacher Road. Correct. On their southern entrance.
Correct.
There's no more right-of-way left on Sun and Lake Boulevard to create 3 lanes coming in and out, nor do I think that we want that, or the residents would want that. So it's important to get that southern entrance. It also can help free up at times emergency response time, okay, of getting to the southern point of your community. So I'll continue to fight and work towards that. But those items are put aside in our capital financial strategy for future projects. So like I said, there's currently the $100,000 that I advocated for and received in this current budget. But we need another $250,000 because that estimates about $350,000 of work that's going to need to be done to shift the road north and pave down to where you folks would extend Cortez out. So I'll continue to fight for that. If I feel that I need some assistance from some of you supervisors to come to a commission meeting, I'll certainly keep you informed on that. But I believe that I will have the support of at least 2 of my other commissioners, if not more.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Moving into the action agenda, the first action item is the Tarrega Street speed table. We'd asked, we had a request signed by, I believe, just about everybody on that block to get this speed bump in place. And we were going to originally put the radar it's the speed machine out there to record the speeds that we were seeing. However, due to everybody thinking that everybody else had sent the machine in for repair, it still sits there as, well, it may be in the shop now, but the motherboard has been burnt out and it has to be replaced. And because of our failure to get anything done for the past couple of months, I'm asking that the board seriously consider going ahead and approving this speed table without the supporting data. It's something that these petitioners have requested, and due to our failure to get the machine there and get the data, I'm asking to go ahead and proceed. So I'll listen to any board discussion on that.
Would you like a motion?
I will in a minute.
Okay.
I just have a question. If we know, is the machine fried and it has to be replaced?
Yes.
How much does that cost? Does anybody know?
I don't offhand. I don't know whether we got the quote yet in.
It's a computer device, so rather than replacing the whole machine, we're waiting on the computer section, the module. So we'll get an assessment of how long that delay is going to be, and if that delay is looking 2, 3, 4 months out, then I will come to you with a new purchase of a new machine, and then we'll just have 2 for backup. So
Well, it's already been 2 months.
I got
Yeah.
you, sir. Yes, sir. Right now, it's a couple $1,000 replacement just for the module. A new machine would be in the $20,000 to $30,000 range. So
Do we have any other outstanding requests for speed bumps?
well, we had one this morning that I do some research on from Arduino.
So
So
you got one more to go with?
That's the Orion
yes, sir. Yeah.
or on Arduino.
I just hate to see the next one go.
Totally agree, sir. We'll look at either co-use of a machine if it looks like there's going to be a long-term. I just started digging into this yesterday, so give me a day or two to figure out.
I understand that. Was there any that machine is not that old.
No, well,
Was there any warranty on it or?
Not aware of, sir. I'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, there may have been a 3-year warranty,
Sure.
and it might be within 3 years. I don't remember.
it's probably been 3 years.
I
but
don't know.
I don't know that for a fact.
Well, if you would check that
Yes,
out
sir.
as well.
We'll do. Yep.
We need to
Otherwise-
get it fixed or something.
Okay, any public comment? Yes, sir. Please.
When I go golf down in the Sebring Country Club, they have one of those speed things, and it's effective. It gets every single car's attention, like, oh, I'm flashing, I'm going too fast. I think it's human being effectiveness, you know what I mean?
The one we
So-
had, it was pretty good.
Ours
Yeah.
is pretty good too.
One
It's
we had was
effective.
doing the same thing, but.
Yeah, and the idea of having a backup, fix the board and have the circuit board and have a backup is just wise. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I have a motion to approve the speed table for Tariega.
Motion.
Second.
Call the vote.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin,
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks.
Yes.
President Herrick.
Yes. Okay, now we also have the RFP for the painting of the buildings here in Sun and Lake. We've got that.
Yeah, I covered that real quick, sir. So we had 5 bids get submitted. 3 of those were actually in proper format with all the supporting documentation. Out of those 3 bids, we whittled it down to a West Florida Maintenance Incorporated. Not only were they the lowest amount, they actually had the best and the highest reference checks that when I called Sebring and Avon Park. They work mainly for government agencies, so when you call them, you get a factual answer. They did good or bad. They were highly recommended by Sebring. They're going to use them again on their wastewater plant. So based on those 2 factors, the staff is recommending that we go with the West Florida Maintenance Inc. I do have the samples of the paint. I know you all have looked at them individually. I would ask that we do the motion today to approve the funding, but give me a few days to work with the contractor on the actual samples. I know there's some questions about the additional rock and so on, and we're going to need to dig into that, how far you want to take it. But I'm concerned about the longevity of some of these samples. The color pattern would not maintain, while it will last based on the warranty, based on the acidity in the water and so on, it may not be the right choice and it may stand out. So I want to get the contractor and do a one-on-one on that. And then I'll get back to you all on the sample of that. And I know we were talking an additional cost for the additional pillars. This amount includes the 4 pillars, and that's it. There's an additional amount. I think it would be unwise as a district that we set aside the aesthetics of doing this as well as the initial pillars now on the concern that we need to add a couple pillars in the near future. We can do that separately. Let's get the painting done. Let's get the pillars installed. Let's see what it looks like. And right now, based on the clubhouse, those additional 2 pillars and the additional tiled squares that you see out there, we can add that at a very later date at a cheaper cost once I get the contractor in here. So I would say we don't need to table this and move past this. Let's get the funding approved so we can get the action going. And then I'll come back to you with the additional cost for some of that additional stonework once you all see how that aesthetically looks.
I have a question. Are we voting on the painting only, or sounds to me like you got some rocks thrown in there and some.
The estimate that we received that we are recommending includes 4 pillars of the rock.
Okay.
And that's the sample back here that was provided to you all that you all looked at. We can hold off on the rock, just get the painting done of all the district buildings. If that's a concern, I guess I'll lump that into the category. I did not know the rock was a concern.
Well,
If it is to some of y'all,
It was with me because it's $36,000.
that's the additional rock, sir.
Yeah,
This rock is included in the $34,000 estimate.
okay.
The 4 pillars are included in the
I just wanna know
34,000.
what I'm
Pillars are
voting on,
included in this
Yes.
34,000.
Yeah, so unless you're concerned about the aesthetics look of the rock, I say this motion will approve the funding as well as get the 4 pillars done with that rock. And then we will add additional stuff at a later date.
So we're taking the tile out, and which board did you decide on?
Well, the vote and the consensus is a split. Consensus on the olive or the gray. The preference is more to the gray for longevity purposes. The olive will attract a different type of palette or a different type of problem with the water.
How can it be split? I didn't vote.
Well, this is just as, I say split, sir. It wasn't a vote. This was a consensus that Dan provided to me that you all looked at him individually. So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just concerned, I'd like to talk more about spending $36,000 on tile on.
But that.
Well, that's painting.
That's not part of it.
separate
No, sir.
issue.
No,
That's
sir.
what I wanted to know.
The 36 covers, over 20 district buildings.
Very
It's a
good.
pretty damn good cost.
I am confused. I agree with the 35,000 here.
Yep.
That includes the rock on 4 columns?
Includes 4 pillars in the front of the clubhouse with
Includes
rock.
that rock on 4 columns?
Yes,
Plus all
sir.
the paint?
Yes, sir. Yep.
How many columns? What is this conversation on 7 columns? Is there more
There's
columns?
addition, if you look at our clubhouse, there's additional 2 columns to the right. There's an additional column in the back closer to the door that were not in the budget. We're not in this forecast. So irregardless of that, that's a separate issue. Yeah.
The other question I have is, this is not what the original conversation was. Because I'm the one that made the original conversation to the budget last year, and that was to paint the clubhouse
Mhm.
and the adjoining cart barn.
Yep.
And to replace the columns. It had nothing to do with all these other buildings.
No, but it was added so that,
I'm sorry?
I believe it was added so that it all
One-
would have the same
Who added
look.
it? That's not what the original budget called for. The capital expense called for that and only that. Somebody added on all these other buildings. That wasn't part of the deal. I mean, that was not
Well,
part of what
There
we,
was $50,000 in the budget to do the paint.
the paint on the clubhouse, the cart barn, and to replace the tile on those 2. Yes, that is what the budget called for. Which I believe is within the 50, I think that's what it works out to.
Well, sure,
So my
34,000
question is,
covers more.
I don't know where the district office came into play. I don't know where all these bathrooms came into play and all this other stuff. That was added on by somebody.
I think,
It's unfair. I know you weren't here. I understand that.
I think they just wanted it to be consistent throughout,
Sure.
like it is now.
But now we've raised the price up to a point that's
Well,
not
it's still under
agreeable.
budget.
It's $26,000 under budget, sir.
But I think you can't do 3 columns or 4 columns without the other 3, can you?
Initial contact with the developer or the contractors that if we are waiting on a decision for additional funding he can paint the columns in the standard color and do the 4 columns in the front. So aesthetically, you're not going to see a major difference of blue contrast.
But we're going to have blue.
That'll give us time to figure out, do you want to spend more money? And I will get a better quote for that additional rock if you want to go that route. They will just be painting over the tile, and that's no problem.
I'd like to see us stay within $50,000 and do what we intended to do. Is that possible?
Right there, it's possible. It's $36,000, and you're doing 10
Seven
times
columns,
what you
all the
want to do.
columns, All the columns.
Oh, you want to, well, sure,
Yeah,
initial
I mean,
14,000 to get the
How
rock?
do you do some of the columns and not all the columns on the building? I don't see that. I mean, it's a one-time deal, isn't it?
I agree, sir.
But all our buildings,
If
I
we need
think
to
all of
paint,
our
if we
buildings
need,
need to be painted, and it would be good to have them all in the same.
if we need to paint the other buildings, we should have put that in here. Or put it in this year's budget. I mean, that was never a conversation. Was it?
Well, obviously it got in there. I can't say that I know exactly how it got in there, but when we put the RFP out, that's how it was sent out.
Yeah, it was sent out with all of them.
This-
I'm not saying it wasn't sent out that way. I'm saying that's not the way we approved it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, all we did was put 50K in the budget. We didn't.
We
But
didn't-
I'm the one that brought it up. I know exactly what we put it in for. So I never mentioned any of these other buildings, and nor did we ever vote or
Is it-
decide on these other
Okay,
buildings.
is that a problem with these other buildings being in there?
If it's going to prohibit us from fixing the clubhouse, yeah, there's a problem. The clubhouse was the whole deal because it's a tired looking, we couldn't clean the clubhouse because the paint was going to come off. So the paint had to be done. At the same time we decided that, we also said the blue tile looks about 80 years old. It's time to upgrade that. It's a one-time deal on the tile, and the paint needed to be done. And that's what we originally intended to do.
All right, well, based on what you're saying, then you don't want to accept this RFP, that you want to go back and have it requoted.
No, what I'm saying is if it's going to prohibit us from doing all the columns in rock and paint, then I am against this. If you guys can do it, all the columns in the paint, you want to add on extra buildings, I don't care, that's fine. I'll support that.
Well, I don't know what all of the columns will cost. So therefore, this request for proposal is inaccurate.
Look at me.
There's a $14,000 delta between what you want to add, sir, and what we are getting with this quote. We're getting all our buildings and 4 major columns that are the biggest columns. I will get with the developer, the contractor today, and I will say, add these smaller columns, and I will almost guarantee you it will not be more than $14,000. I will guarantee you that. So
Fine.
it's under the $50,000 cap.
Fine, when you can come back and guarantee me,
Yep.
I'll vote yes.
Okay?
So are we tabling this to the next motion? Beanie?
Well, I hate to table it because we need to get moving on it,
Yeah.
but
Well, you guys can vote on it now, I'll just be 3-1.
I'll make the motion that we do what, spend the 36, and I'll be open to spend if it's 14,000, but I will not be in favor of another 36,000.
Yeah, we would just come back as
Just
there'd be a change order. That's what would happen, is a change
Well,
order
you're
would
saying-
come back to the board.
You're saying the most it can be is 48. You're saying 14,000 for the extra 3
No, I say
columns.
we have a $14,000 buffer just to add a couple columns.
Yeah,
you're not even saying it may not be 14.
It's not even going to be $14,000, but I can't tell you that without talking to the contractor.
Okay,
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I have a motion to accept the RFP for West Florida maintenance at $34,769. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further board
can
discussion?
we amend that to 7 columns? He said, the quote is 4. If we amend it to 7, I'm in.
You can't get 7 for that $34,000. That's
Okay, let's vote it.
Any public comment? Call the vote.
Supervisor Gilpin,
Yes,
Supervisor Brooks,
No.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
President Herrick.
Yes. The adopted proposed budget.
Can I ask one other question on that? Who is going to make the final decision on the color? I don't want to be, I'm not part of it. I just want to know who's going to do it.
Once I speak to the contractor again and specifically see the palette, if there's any other adjustments, I will get with you all and we'll make the final. What you have authorized today gives this guy the ability to mobilize, the timeline, to get his resources, not buy paint. So we have a little time on that. That decision will be made in the short term. And I will get with you, sir. So you say who's going to make the decision? I will recommend to you a decision.
I don't want to vote on it. I don't.
Okay?
We hired, didn't we, we hired somebody
There you
to
go.
pick out the
I've
colors.
picked paint before, don't worry.
Well, we hired someone to come and advise us on.
Did we pay that person?
I assume we did.
That's where those boards came from.
Huh?
That's where the boards came from.
I didn't look at the boards. I don't get involved. I'm colorblind. I can't see it anyway.
Then how would you know that? Never mind, I won't go there.
They're ugly.
All right. So you'll get back to us as far
Yes.
as the other budget on the other column. All right. The adopted proposed budget.
Where's that?
Basically, we advertised the rates. And we now have a chance to look at the budget one more time before we move into the final. Any board discussion?
I have a few questions. Does it, if you don't advertise the rate, is there a problem? If we don't advertise one of the rates, does that present a problem?
Yeah, all rates should have been advertised.
They weren't. The permit
Specific.
increase projections, those few increases there were not advertised.
Which ones?
They were advertised. I just forgot to include it in your packet.
I'm sorry?
They were advertised. I just forgot to include it in your packet. But it was.
I got the ad.
I know, but I forgot to include it in there. But it was advertised the same day.
I mean, I'm just asking for clarification.
Which
I
rate
don't
again,
care
sir,
one way
for
or the other.
clarification? Which rate are you talking about?
This permit increase projections. there's
It
a
was
few-
advertised.
Huh?
It was advertised.
Well, I can't see it.
I have the papers in my office. I'm sure everybody brought their newspaper copies with them. Hello, there we go.
Is it there? You got it?
Yes, sir, but I can't find it.
Look on the,
Well, either could I.
it was in the paper. It was just in a different location. It was a late submission, so the newspaper put it in a different location, but it was
If you
advertised.
I mean, I went through the paper. I didn't see it. If
Yeah.
you're telling me I missed it, that's fine. It's not on this. Is that present a problem is all I'm asking.
It does not present a problem because it was advertised.
Well, you'll have to show me where it is in the
I
paper.
will.
Because it's not there.
Which one was it?
It's in your package. Permit increase projections, this one.
But that's,
It's not a big thing. I was just asking if it presents a problem because I couldn't find it. That's all I was
which
asking.
one?
Darcy, what's the date on that newspaper article? I'm sorry? 1/9. We'll go out online right now and verify that it was advertised. I have the papers in my office. I did not bring them. If you needed something
It's in
more, I
your
wish you
folder.
would have let us know.
Which one?
We'll follow this meeting up with the actual printout that we got from the newspaper, sir. They were advertised. They're just not in your packet. We'll follow it up. Yep.
Well, so what was sent out to us, this is not right.
It is correct. It's just missing the permit fees.
It is correct, but it's not.
It is correct, but I didn't include the permit rate sheet. But it was published.
Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I was just asking in case, to find out if it was a problem.
Here.
Obviously, we don't know for sure if it really was.
July 19th, page C12
So
in the
July
newspaper.
19th. See, would have been easy. Okay, that's great. I mean, this is these are all small stuff. We've decided to change the resident member guest rates. We never changed it on this. It's supposed to be $41 for 18 holes. It's printed as 45. I mean, it's, the other thing I would ask is, on the chart that you provided for us, the organizational chart, can we get an updated copy that's reflective of the budget, position-wise? They don't match up very well. Is that possible?
Organizational chart.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just updated that yesterday. I'll get that out to you all.
Yeah, because I mean,
Yep.
and there was one position I didn't even know we had. If I can find it, wait a minute.
Okay. Any other board comment?
Well, yeah, 5-year capital plan. Why are we not published that? Why is that not part of the budget?
Should be, and
It should
it
be.
will be.
It's not.
We'll get it to you, sir. Yes, sir. I just noticed that
Well,
yesterday.
I mean, it has to be part of the package.
Agree. Yes. Yep. Yep.
It was not in the handout that I received. Oh, yeah, what's that position here? I see that. And the position I was asking about, just out of curiosity, was the Director of Public Works. What is that?
That's the oversight of road. It's really the operations position you all been continuing to talk about.
Oh, this is the ops person?
OPSO, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that should really be theoretically brought up
Yeah.
nearer to you?
Well, it stays at that level. It stays as a direct report to me, but the terminology is different. Yes, sir.
So that's the ops person?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll add the 5-year capital in?
You get that, sir.
We'll include it.
Any other board comments? Public comments?
Excuse me. Kurt McCullough, resident, MGA board member. I found out a couple of weeks ago that the Board of Supervisors made the decision to remove the support of 260 MGA members in this budget. By doing so, the only time we can react to that type of decision is the last week in February. And so what we're really concerned about is the fact that the support that you give us, 100% of that support is given back to the clubhouse and the pro shop. None of those funds leave the community. They all stay right here. So in a nutshell, what we would like to request is that you put this decision a year from now, which will give us time to react, plan for your decision, and would make it better for the community, better for the MGA members, and frankly, better for everybody.
When you talk about February, that's when you have your, is that your election?
It's our general election meeting, and that is when we can discuss the membership costs and things like that. And it's a once-a-year meeting, and that's when we do it. So by you making the decision in April, May, or whenever you did that, obviously it was after our meeting and way before our next meeting.
We took money away from the LGA, correct? Are you speaking on behalf of them, or is this just the MGA?
Well, right now I'm speaking for the MGA. I can't speak for them.
Okay.
Was there any money for the WGA?
No, it was all removed.
And the LGA is, I don't believe we ever gave any money to LGA or
Pretty sure we did.
Yeah,
We did.
WGA.
just the WGA, nor, but the L. what is
Well,
it?
maybe I said it wrong.
That's-
We gave it to one of the women's
So-
groups.
Just to clarify that, so we removed, in the budget, we removed it for all three different organizations.
How much do we give traditionally?
So previously, not in the proposed budget that we have now, but in previous budgets, the MGA was given $5,500, the WGA was given $3,500, and the LGA was given $750.
How much for
A
their,
total for
how much for the LGA?
$750 for a total of $9,750 altogether.
Right now, they have nothing.
In this current budget, we have removed that.
You remember that discussion? Last month?
Amending the budget would not alter our ability to move forward with a final budget, would it?
Correct. That's the point of this tentative budget meeting, is to take these recommendations or requests from the public and then consider them before the adoption of the final budget.
I think, well, based on, Kurt, what you've said, and based on your inability to take any action to undo our removal of those type of fees, I guess I would have to ask the board to reconsider removing these funds with the idea that we put all of the groups on notice that that funding will cease with the next budget, or at least that would be our intent, and therefore provide them the opportunity to do those things that they may have to do to keep their financial string going. So I'll hear from anybody else.
I don't mind at all if it's
I think that's
set that
fine.
way,
We attempted, the whole thing behind this was, well, not the whole thing, but there's all kinds of costs, as you all know, that we are going to be experiencing with the new wastewater treatment plant. So, and the various roads and repairs that we need to do, drainage. So everybody was tightening the belt, and we looked at those as part of the, potential. We did have discussions with individuals from the organizations about eliminating some of the activities that they did in order to provide more outside play, which in turn provides more revenue for the golf course, because we had asked them to balance their budget. And that was one of the reasons, or one of the means that they said they could do, is to increase outside play, which is, of course, being paid at a higher rate than what we pay as members. However, again, with the idea that they have certain times of the year that they can affect a change, I guess maybe it's appropriate that we put them on notice and that this is what we intend to do. But without having given them that notice, I feel compelled to try to put it back in with the rest of the board's approval.
Kurt, how many of your board members are part-time people now? I know we worked, when I was on,
Yeah.
extremely hard to do away with snowbirds being on there, and because we had that problem. When I was on there at one time, we had 3 people that were here full-time.
You mean on the board itself?
On the board
Oh,
of
I'm sorry.
the MGA board.
5 of them are, well, I should say 4 of them are seasonal and 5 are regular.
Okay.
The discussions that we had previous were prior to
Yeah,
them
I
leaving.
understand. I just wanted to know how many were, because I know when I was on, we worked very hard to turn into everybody,
Yes.
most everybody that lives
Ideally,
here.
everybody would be a full-time resident. on
Yeah,
the board. Ideally, yeah.
I would recommend that you try to do that.
Well-
And then you could have a meeting, but I'm okay with it, as long as it's a 1-year notice.
If there's consensus for us to refund those 3 entities, then we as staff will bring back to you the impacts to the golf budget as well as the total budget. We don't need a motion. Nothing's been finally approved. We'll bring back to you those numbers, the impact of adding back this $9,000, and then you all can make a decision at the next meeting.
I don't know if we had a consensus, so we got
Can I-
1, 2.
Can I ask a question? How much money we got? How much money does the MGA got right now?
Well, I'm not the treasurer, so, well,
I mean, one time,
Well, let
you
me
guys
put
had a
it-
surplus.
let me put it to you this way, that
Yeah.
through the dues, we raise about $4,500. So you have your $5,500 and a local bank gives us, I think, $400. So we run around $10,000 and we spend all $10,000. We do have
That's not true. A couple of years ago, you had a surplus like $3,000 or $4,000.
I'm saying we try to maintain a $2,500 budget, but so if we got 10,000, we would start with 12,000, we'd work it all the way back down to 2,000. We keep a $2,000 budget, or balance, I should say.
How much of this can you cover without raising losing more money?
I mean, we could look at this in 100 different ways of how we would manage through this.
Well, what impact does it have on the golf budget?
So it's straight bottom
It's an
line.
expense. It goes to
If we have this in there, it's just straight bottom line, 10 grand.
I thought the district was funding it.
The district gives it to them.
Well, it funds through our
Yeah,
marketing
the
budget.
district funds it.
It's going to be out of.
Well, district funds everything.
General.
It's a $10,000 number. We just wanted to show you the numbers where that's impacted. It would be bad judgment to put him on the spot right now to see how it specifically impacts his budget. Let us present that back to you.
I think we're running out of time, aren't we?
Next meeting's the final.
We have time on the budget. You have until the end of August. So we have time.
And that's one more
This is
meeting.
exactly why we do these sessions. There's actually going to be an entire public comment session on the budget that will get exact comments like this. We're going to have to bring back to you for additional potential changes. So we have time.
Is it possible that you can still make money? I mean, I hate to see a golf budget that's going to call for losing more money than you made last year. That was what this whole thing started with, because I was the one that raised the objection.
Correct. So
But the money is, the money is coming out of the general fund, transferred to Mike,
Which puts it in his
in the-
numbers.
Huh?
Which puts it in his numbers.
which puts his numbers up $5,000.
so in the
Or, well, it puts his numbers up $9,750.
His costs are going to go up $5,000 more, right?
His numbers will go up $9,750 instead of showing $12,000 profit. He should be showing about $20,000 profit.
So in the past, this was allocated out of the golf marketing budget. So it was not a check cut from the general fund or anything else. It's literally in our marketing budget. So if this is added back in the way it was previously, it's a straight $10,000 bottom line hit. But if it comes out of the general fund, it comes over to it effectively doesn't change it.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm thinking
Sure.
if we're-
I mean, it wouldn't change
we're gonna fund
this.
it,
I mean,
so
it
we
works.
should go up to
Yeah, we'll get you.
$10,000.
Well,
Well, I know when we originally raised it, 5, 6 years ago, I was involved in that. And the extra money that we give, the MGA come out of the budget, Sun Lake budget. It
Out
didn't
of
come
the-
out
out
of
of
nothing else.
out of
but
district
We
general.
give an extra $2,000 or something because they were running the couples tournament.
Right.
Sure.
And depending how that money is spent, it's not necessarily a straight $10,000 boost to the budget. If they spend it on gift certificates that goes in the pro shop, there's a 70% cost of sales. So you're really only going to see 30% of that to the bottom line, or it of some sort of fashion, but we'd have to look into
It
how
can only be a plus.
I agree with you there, but it's not going to be all of it. Yes.
I'm here to tell you, it can only be a plus.
Yeah.
Okay, one more year.
Okay?
That's it
So
then.
you're saying you're approving it? Is that what you're saying?
We'll get back to not only the board, sir, we'll get back to the organizations as well. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Mark Camp, resident. I guess I just have a couple questions. Since I tend to be an individual that looks at details, it seems like we might be missing a few details here, but I just need it for my edification. So if I understood correctly, we have a rate that was published that is incorrect or missing. I think Mr. Brooks.
No, I said I couldn't find it in the paper. It's not incorrect. I just couldn't find it.
It's in the paper on page C12.
Apparently,
whatever edition
it
that
wasn't
was.
with the other rates.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a rate as it pertained to golf.
No.
Oh, you were talking the permits?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. Because I was wondering, that would have to be re-advertised, correct? If it wasn't? Correct, the rate?
Yeah, if it was mispublished, yes,
Okay,
sir.
and that's fine. And I appreciate that. So my next question is, I realize this is a tentative budget. The typo errors and headings and things of that detail matter when you pass the final one, which will be on the 29th of August? Does everything have to be corrected by then? I mean, even a typo. Okay. So I didn't go through the whole budget, but I did spot a few things. And I was just curious. One is on some labor burden. On most of the labor burden you break out, let's say in the district, you might split your time with different departments as far as your salary.
Yeah.
Okay. I saw one that didn't have any split time, but I know it has to be split somewhere.
Cindy.
Hmm?
It was Cindy.
Yes. Okay. So you're going to make the correction on where there's split between the two
Sure.
organizations?
That'll be identified.
And I only bring that up because I spotted it, so that it might be helpful.
Yeah, Cindy should be 50/50.
Okay. The other thing is, I see on your org chart that you have Infomark still in there.
Yes.
Is our intention to keep Infomark since we have a director of finance now?
We've always had a director of finance, and yes, we intend to keep Infomark for a while.
Actually, we didn't always have a director of finance. We had Omar. He was our director of finance.
No.
Then Dane was our,
director.
Yeah, but we did, okay. We had Omar, then there was an opening. We had a new GM come in, or district manager. He came in, since we didn't have Omar anymore, we hired Infomark as an interim organization until we found a director of finance, a CPA. That's what my understanding was from the meetings, okay? So we did have a gap there, and that's why Infomark was brought in, because we went out to them to do that, because we needed that to be done, to
Infomark
make payroll and everything else.
but Dane was also a replacement for Omar.
And then Dane came back, yes,
Yeah.
and he replaced Omar
Omar.
temporarily because he was going to be moving. And I guess the question is a simple question. Are we keeping Infomark? Are we going to pay him that additional monies?
For now, until such time as we develop an exit plan.
Okay, fine. I just see it's a lot of money, a lot of extra
Yep.
money that the district could save possibly.
I said until we develop an exit plan.
Okay.
Right now, it's too early.
Okay, and the only other comment I make, earlier on, I just tend to be a detailed person, and I find it pretty aggravating to listen to the meetings, be it at home or whatever, and people don't seem to care about the details anymore. I heard that already in this meeting. I heard that there were some errors, and they said, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it." Well, yeah, you should be worrying about it. If it's done right the first time, you won't be having these things constantly coming up. But anyway, we all make mistakes. I appreciate the work you guys actually do. I just see a lot of room for improvement, a lot of missed detail. Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Any other comments related to the budget? Okay, any other items? None? Petitions and communications?
Don't we have to adopt the budget?
We got to vote.
How can we vote on the paper that we don't have?
Yeah, if the plan is to add back in what is it, $9,750? If that's the plan, then there should be a provisional motion. The motion would be to approve the tentative budget with the addition of the 9,750 back into the whatever, wherever that 9,750 is going.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? Public?
I'm sorry, Mark Camp. So the 29th is your last meeting
On the budget.
on the budget, yes.
I hope.
Well, it could be the last meeting for the budget is the 29th, which you'll finalize and adopt it at that particular time, so.
That will be the final budget. This is the adoption of the tentative budget.
Yeah, it'll be the final one, and there will be no further comment at that time. You're just going to adopt it, correct?
Well, there's a public hearing at the next meeting when the final budget is presented.
Okay.
So it's a public hearing at that time.
Similar to
Something was
today.
come up, excuse me. If something was to come up to cause us to want to change it, then I would submit that we may have to have a special meeting of some sort in order to get it approved.
Okay, that's what I was curious, because that is your last meeting before it has to
The
be
final budget will
approved.
be adopted on the 29th. It has to be.
It has to be adopted. Okay.
So it's not really a public meeting, right?
Well,
No, it's a public hearing.
Well, why would there's nothing could be done?
It's public, but it's basically rubber stamped.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's not rubber stamped. The board has the ability to change the budget up until its adoption. But what I'm saying is that on the 29th, it has to be adopted because there's no other time to do it.
Okay, so you can
So
make a
if we
real,
have to stay here for 5 hours until we can come to an agreement, that's what we'll have to do.
Okay. You would make a real-time amendment to it and then approve it.
Correct.
Okay.
So based on that, when are we going to announce the workshop?
What workshop?
I just thought we we're going to have a workshop on.
No, it's a public hearing. Public hearing.
All right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I thought somebody said workshop.
No.
When are we going to announce the public hearing on the final budget?
It'll be advertised.
Well, that comes out a week before. You think that's fair to the community?
It's out now.
It's out now.
Yeah, the budget's out.
The proposed budget's already posted. It's been sent out. People are looking at it now, hence the audience.
I said, when are we going to,
I think, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think he's saying you're going to amend it now, you're going to make corrections to it,
right?
be it typos or otherwise, and I believe he's saying, and I don't want to put words in, when will the public get to see this? So in preparation for the meeting on the 29th, they'll be able to make sure there aren't any
Yeah, I think we have
additional
to publish,
errors.
a week before? Yeah, it's a week before or something like that we have to have that published
Okay.
as part of that.
I
So
guess
like I say, the changes that we're talking about today, whatever gets approved today, will get updated, and then it will, as part of the posting and advertising for the meeting on the 29th, that'll all be part of it.
So it'll be a week before the meeting, yeah.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
I just thought that a week is not a lot of notice to the district, to the people living here. And I don't care what the rules are.
Oh,
I'm telling you, I don't believe that that's fair to the people living in the community who might be interested in
Sure.
looking at it. And I grant you, the number is probably very small. But I think in all fairness to the people living here, 7 days notice or 6 days notice of how we're spending their money is not very much. That's all I'm saying. You all think it's fair?
I think we can call the vote.
Okay, we had a
Don't
motion
leave, we have a vote coming.
and a second. Call the vote.
Supervisor Brooks,
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips,
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin,
Yes,
President Herrick.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Okay, add-on items, none. Petitions and communications, none. Staff reports, Mike and Jimmy. Mr. Lemire, Mr. Murphy.
Good morning, supervisors. Just a few notes here coming up. Just to inform the board, we do have a few events coming up here. It's obviously August. We know we have our couple big events. We do have the Kim Ghost Memorial Tournament, which is this Saturday. We've had that for a few years now. Something new coming up that I'm pretty excited for. We have the PGA Drive Chip and Putt. So that's the juniors. So this is a qualifying event that, if they make it through here, they'll have to probably go through a regional. And the Sunday before the Masters, when you watch on TV, the Drive Chip and Putt, this is kind of where the grassroots of it starts right here. So we're going to host that here, which is on August 1st. I'm assuming we're going to have about 80 kids that are going to be here to compete to try to qualify to get all the way to Augusta. So that's pretty neat. Obviously, as a PGA member, that's a passion of mine. So we're really looking forward to that. We do have the Sertoma Junior Tour Championship that we've hosted for years. That's on the 5th and 6th. And then we have the annual Fireman's Memorial Tournament, which is on the 12th, and the Sertoma Two-Man Tournament, which is on August 26th and 27th, as we do every year. On the food side, Chef Tracy, she's been here over 2 weeks now. She's settling in, doing well. Chef Max last day was last Friday, so we have made that transition. So far off to a good start, getting settled in. Trivia night is on the 14th. Big one we should note, we have the New Sun Highlander Awards on 8/17. That is going to be a full building event as it is normally for them. So we will be closed for dinner that night for that event. Live music will be on the 18th and bingo on the 28th. As we've been going along, so we did all the carpet cleaning in the clubhouse. That is complete. We do have several other projects going on just to try to upkeep the buildings. The new ice machine that we ordered, I don't know how long ago, for the restaurant is finally here and installed. That just happened late last week. That will be a lease. So that'll be a lease going forward for that machine. As you can see, all the roof projects have continued around. Yesterday they tore off the roof for the cart barn right over here by the dog park. On the financial note, we're kind of just keeping a track. We got a couple months left towards the end of the year. We're tracking pretty well financially. We're ahead of plan. So we're just keeping an eye on that. Me and Jimmy work together almost on a daily basis, monitoring our expenses to make sure we hit plan. So if there's any questions, I'll take them, but that's all I got for you.
Who is your live music coming in? Who?
I'll have to get back to you on that. I do not know off the top of my head. I believe it's a new one.
That was last Friday.
Last Friday's live music. So that band's been here a few times and they have their own folks come in here, but it was a good night.
I mean, did we do
We had
well?
4 tables.
Yeah, it's still
4 tables?
4 or 5 tables. So, I mean, I was there.
right. And I don't know if there's a few more, but as far as revenue goes, it was over 4K on I don't know, like a 2.5K
There was a
average.
golf group in the back.
Yeah, we had a few other people in there. Yeah, it's definitely the live music is definitely not as many people as it is when we do it in season for sure. It drops off. But
I mean,
the
this
cost of the live music for some of those is not a whole lot. So we're just trying to keep it moving.
And the bingo last night was almost a full house.
Yes, the bingo's been very popular. Yep.
Yeah. And the food was excellent.
Thank you. We'll pass that on.
It was totally different than anything we'd ever
Yes,
had
we-
before, and it was excellent.
Yes.
It was barbecue chicken or pork, good baked beans, homemade baked beans, and a great potato salad. And I'm a good cook, and I'm telling you, the food was great.
Thank you. I'll pass that
And
on.
everybody loved it. The only problem that I might suggest is that a couple of the men wanted to go back for seconds, and they were told it was a limited budget, and that
Limited?
is true, but
Yeah.
Listen for you.
I mean, those are decisions that need to be made on the floor at the time. And show a little grace here.
I thought it was a buffet.
It was a buffet. A buffet. They were told it was a limited buffet, and I am calling.
Typically, it's a one-trip deal, yes, but if there's, as long as everybody gets fed, it's not a big deal to go through. But we want to make sure everybody
And
gets
there was plenty
fed.
of food. There was plenty of
So
food. It wasn't a-
they should be able to go
question
back
not-
up if we get it.
not
Yeah,
having-
I'll follow
But
up on that.
all in all,
Thank you.
please,
Yep.
it was a great event.
Outside of trivia night, which I know is successful, is Monday night worth it?
You know, I've been tracking that, as I said I would. Some nights are better than others. I mean, we've tried to add some things to those. So really, we typically do 2 events. So on Monday nights, that would leave the other 2. And I keep an eye on them. It's borderline. It's borderline to close those days.
If you move trivia night to say Thursday, you could close Monday. Save yourself the expense.
Yeah, but then
As a full member, I am objecting to closing on Monday night, and that's what we're doing.
yeah.
We're just trying to
So-
break even. We're not trying to make money on Monday night.
I don't
That's
think
why
we're
I closed
breaking even.
It's close, but if I move that event to a Thursday, I'm displacing a lot more revenue than I am to host it. So I would be going backwards. Yeah, I think it's been working out okay.
That's
It's
fine. I still think the entertainment during the summer is a waste of money. I mean, you're the one that needs to make.
yeah, and I looked at it first thing this morning, so I know what you're saying. But it was a decent night.
There were-
Yeah.
I don't think 4 tables is a decent
Yeah,
night.
but there were other people there.
Mhm.
It's not exclusive.
Yeah.
It was open to everybody. mean,
No, I
the
understand, but they
restaurant
weren't there
still-
for the entertainment.
Nope, but
That's my point.
yeah.
I'm glad you did.
They were there for the entertainment.
They were there at the other side, yeah.
Good with me.
Sorry.
Anything else from Mike? Mr. Murphy?
Good morning, Supervisors. Welcome, Ray. I think we're going to have a good year this year. Just want to get real quick on what we have going on. We got aerification going this week on Deer Run. Got 17 holes completed yesterday. We got the number 18 putting green left today. Hopefully get them all top dressed today. We did backtrack verticut, so if you drive by them this morning, they probably look a little abused, but that's what we did last time when they come out of it. That's what that grass needs. It needs to be verticut in order to be good for the fall. Other than that, just trying to keep our head above water right now, trying to stay ahead of all the rough and everything. Like to get it cut twice, just don't have those people yet where we can get it cut twice. So going to try an intermediate cut first, see what that looks like. I am going to take them down a little bit. It's a happy balance. It happens every time this time of year, the rough gets up, but we're trying to protect what we have going into the winter time. I know most of you guys understand that, but it doesn't help scores. So we'll definitely look at it. Pretty happy with everything else. Like I said, we're kind of behind on our landscape, kind of behind on our spot spraying and stuff, but definitely trying to get there. We're still about 3 people shy on our crew right now. Had a little bit of turnover, but I get it. We're going to fix it. And so, we lost one of our golf service guys that was doing Deer Run, which is kind of unfortunate, but I did get a Another one, it's just going to take a little bit of time to train them. But other than that, like I said, we're just trying to stay on top of everything right now.
What's going on with the box on Deer Run number 13 behind my house? You
Well,
guys been working on it for 3 days.
I know. So we're troubleshooting it. So the last lightning strike, we lost the box on number 11. Totally rebuilt that on a Friday, got it back up and running. This weekend, Romaldo came in, noticed that it was still hot on 12, so he goes to that box. It's reading power in the box, so basically we're going through and replacing the boards. And unfortunately, there are computer chips on those boards, so we got a few we're waiting on. So talked with Toro this morning, just trial and error. So right now we are watering hole 12 manually.
I should say, can you water manually?
Yes, ma'am. It's unfortunate, but I mean, it's one of those glitches. Lightning's bad, but we'll figure it out. 11 we were able to fix. We do have an exchange program with Wesco, and I don't know whether we burn up all of our credit. Coral, did you cash in the credit yet with Toro?
I have,
Go ahead.
I haven't seen that credit yet. The one that's 90,000?
Yes, so just so you guys understand, I just wanted to bring this up. We talked about the $2.2 million. We were able to get a rebate of $174,000 once everything was caught up to speed. So I know we've used a little bit of that, but right now we have a $90,000 credit with Wesco Turf. So Coral, I think, is just basically trying to get everything cleaned up, make sure Toro's clean, and then I'm assuming you'll ask for a check to be cut back to you all.
I requested that check already once we've balanced out the open invoices.
There you go. Might pay for your columns, Ray. I'm just kidding. But other than that, that's all I have, unless you all have some questions for me or anybody else. Thank you.
Thank you. General Counsel, Mr. Schumacher.
Okay, I don't have a lot. The Avanti case is continuing. I'm going to be meeting with Mr. Bossert later on today to kind of discuss that with him, and we're going to coordinate with meeting with Mr. Rhodes so we can get our mediation plan kind of set. I know that we're trying to figure out some numbers, but we'll be working on that.
I thought that, didn't we decide on numbers?
Well, yeah, we have submitted an initial offer,
Yeah.
and they've come back and asked, why did you submit that number? And so we're trying to provide some backup information to help them understand why we're asking for what we're asking for. So we're going to sit down, kind of go over the original Avanti contract to kind of, so we have a basis so they understand why we're asking for what we're asking for.
Okay.
So other than that, I don't have a lot unless there's questions.
That's all you got? What about, where are we on this notice of legislative intent? I mean, what's going on?
The issue that we're having with that right now is we're trying to think of a good way to put this. We don't have a lot of statutory support for why we're asking for what we're asking for. So I am trying to come up with a plan as to, if we go before the county and they ask, why do you want to do this? I don't have anything to tell them to support wise other than that's what we want.
You got, after all this time, you got to be kidding me.
Nope.
I mean, you really do. This is ridiculous.
That's the best answer I can give you right now. We have some other
Well, that's
options.
not what you told us last month, it was even in the newspaper. That we had agreed to a letter or whatever, a notice of legislative intent.
Exactly. And so based
And
on
now
that,
you're saying
we've never
that's
had to do one of those before. So this is the first time we've been asked to do one of those. And like I say, I can draft one up. I've drafted one up, but it's very bare bones. And I don't want to stand up in front of the county commission with Mr. Bossert and tell them when they ask us, why do you want to do this? Our answer is because.
I thought this was all originally because of the county recommended this is how we should go about running Sun and Lake. After so much occupancy and all this kind of stuff, we should be at this position, so forth and so on. And now we're there and you're telling me we're not there?
We don't have the density.
We don't have what?
The density.
Well, where has this all been for a year and a half?
I'm sorry?
Where have we been for you? Why are we even, excuse me, Why have we gone through this for a year and a half if we had no choice, no chance?
Well, I'm not saying we have no chance. I'm just
You're
saying
saying you
that
don't know what to tell them.
because there isn't. I mean, there isn't anything specifically that we can say, this is, this is our basis for why we want what we want.
Because how about if the board decided we wanted to do 5, and you're telling me that's not good enough?
No, I'm saying that if that's what you want me to do is get up in front of the county commission and say, we want it because we want it, I'm happy to do that. But I don't think that's going to be successful.
So,
I mean, I'm as frustrated as him.
I mean, it's been a year and a half.
This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. All we need is an answer. And we're just being slow walked until we're told, well, we can't do it. I mean, we've been working on this 2 years.
That's what I was told to do.
Is that what we're
So
doing? We're
that's,
gonna wait till next month and say, oh, we haven't got the time now? Is that?
We don't have time now.
I mean, I cannot believe. But that's all right. That's the way things work, I guess. I've said enough.
I will move forward however you want me to move forward. I'm just
Tell
saying
me-
that I
tell
don't
me,
think,
what do we need, if the board wants to go to 5-0, what needs to be done to accomplish that?
over 90% density.
I'm sorry?
Over 90% density within Sun and Lakes. That's the only thing that can, by statute, will require it.
Can we do
The only other option that we have is a potential referendum, which I'm going to talk to Mr. Bossert about today.
Excuse me. I mean, if we can't do it, just tell us we can't do it. I mean, I just.
I'm
want
not
to
saying we
get-
can't. I'm saying that if I get up in front of the Board of County Commissioners and they ask me why, the only answer I have to give them right now is because that's what the board wants.
And that's not good enough.
I don't know. I'm not on the county commission. So if you think that'll convince 3 commissioners, then I will get up there and say that exact thing.
But you don't have any supporting documentation to support.
We don't have the density to support it
How far off are we?
significantly.
We're-
But like I say, I'm
so
not, this has
why-
worked.
Then why do we even start to do this if we had no chance from the beginning?
I'm not saying we don't have a chance because this has worked in the past. When we went from 1 acre, 1 vote or 1 lot, 1 vote to 1 parcel, 1 vote, we didn't have support for that, but the county commission passed it. So
Well, since you're telling me, in your opinion, legally, we have no chance in hell.
no, I'm not saying that.
He didn't say that.
I'm saying I don't have anything to support. If they ask for, if they say, why do you want to do this? Or what is your reasoning for behind this?
Yeah.
My only answer right now is because that's what the board wants.
Okay, I go with that. What do we got to lose?
Well, that is why we're doing it. The board voted 4-1 17 times in the last 2 years. And we're 1 month away from,
I mean, if they tell you no, we're no worse off than we are now.
I'm not denying that.
Huh?
I'm not denying that.
But my opinion, to go in front of the county and you can't answer why you want it with any supporting documentation, I think that makes us look bad. But
What supporting documentation do we have when we changed the voting,
I
the way
don't
we
know.
did the voting? What documentation we have for that?
For when we changed to 1 parcel, 1 vote?
Yeah.
None.
Well, either we keep trying, either we go to the board or the county and ask them, or just drop it and stay the way we are. There's no sense in keep going, dealing with this. You agree with that?
well, I kind of agree, but I don't understand why it keeps being delayed. And in my mind, it's going to be delayed until it says, well, we haven't got the time to do it. And there's
It
no
already is,
reason.
it's already past that.
It's been slow walked, and it's the powers that be someplace don't want us to do it. Somewhere.
The only thing I don't have an answer for is why the county is now asking for this statement of legislative intent that has never happened before. So I don't know if that's because of the new county attorney. I don't have an answer for that because we've never had to do one of those before.
Well, do we have a choice? We either go to the county and with no backup supporting documents, or we stay the way we are. That seems to be the choice. Correct?
Correct. Mhm.
Do we want to decide that?
I think we should ask, and that's what the majority of the people want is, and it certainly hasn't worked.
I don't think,
No, that's
no.
not necessarily true. You
No,
don't know
that's
what
not
the
true.
people want.
Well, we had
The
plenty
only
of
thing that you
meetings on
have
that.
is a board meeting.
We had
Board
plenty of
members that say they
people that
want it.
come to the meeting, and there wasn't much support to keep it the same way. Simple as that. I mean,
I can bring the statement of legislative intent that I have drafted, the bare bones one that I have drafted, to the next board meeting, and so you can see what it is that we'd be putting before the county commission, and you guys can make a decision on that if that's how you want it to move forward.
Well, that's the end of, we're talking the end of August, and I believe we have to prepare, what was that information, Carl, that you sent out for the, if we have a landowner's.
Yeah, we're pretty much already locked in to have to do we already knew that.
The timeline for the landowners meeting is fastly approaching. So I believe that
I
we'll
just
meet.
think we need an answer, and I don't care either way, but I do think this community wants to go to that. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
Well, since we're going to have to do a
I don't
landowners
think the
meeting in your
community cares.
opinion now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
I don't think
exactly.
Why don't we
the
do
community
this?
cares.
I suggest you do both. Prepare for the landowners
Well-
meeting and submit your.
Why don't we send out a survey asking people what they want?
What-
Since we're in no
It-
hurry all of a
It's
sudden.
too late
It
for
will-
surveys. We got,
Right, it won't
Well-
change the timelines.
The one other thing that, like I say, based on the research that I've done, there is a way to do it by referendum, and it would require 10% of the qualified electors to make that request to the county commissioners. That's going to be an extensive process because based on the information I got from the supervisor of elections, we have over 3,500 people that are qualified electors within the district. So we'd need a petition with over 350 signatures. That was something else I was going to discuss with Mr. Bossert as a possibility.
David, this is all way too late to be doing this. This should have
Yeah,
been done, this should have been done a year and a half ago when we passed it. I mean,
Okay, so we're going to have a landowner seat, or election, I should say.
Meeting.
Huh? Meeting and election.
yeah.
Potentially. Mhm.
I'm just truly disappointed, as with Mike was saying, I mean, a year and a half, and we're no further along than we were back then. Not a good thing.
Understood.
Financial Director Coral.
I'd like to introduce Andre McAden. He is here from Infomark. He and I have been working together. He is the Director of Accounting at Infomark, and he oversees our district accountant, which is represented through Infomark, as well as our accounts payable clerk. She is also through Infomark, so instead of an in-house staff, we have like a remote staff. And I'd like to introduce him and have him say a few words.
Good morning.
Morning.
Again, for the record, Andre McAden, Director of Accounting from Infomark. Nice to meet you all. Glad to come out. One of the roles that I play as Director of Accounting is to get out and meet the districts that we work with. We've got districts across the state of Florida. And so although we're remote to you all, our objective is still to have kind of a face-to-face. So this is my first time being here, but I've met with other districts across the state. My goal is to make sure that there's always clarity on what role we play for you and who the team is that's in place for you. We're working with Cole to make sure that we provide the proper analytical oversight for your financials, making sure that they're completed on a timely basis. We've been working with her to get the timing down in terms of the third-party reports that get integrated into the financials so they can make sure that they get to you on time, as well as working with her on the budget and interacting with your external auditor, preparing work papers and walking them through the process. Each month prior to the financials reaching you, Sonia and I have a review of them. And occasionally I'll challenge her on them. I want to make sure that they're as accurate as possible. We're not missing anything. The team that you have in place, we're all tenured and pretty experienced. By way of background, prior to taking the role that I'm in now, I was controller for the city of Lake Worth Beach, chief accounting officer for the city of Delray Beach, and was in private practice for 9 years prior to that. Sonia has been with the company in her role for about 20 years, and the AP clerk assigned to you has been with the company, I think, 8 years. So we've got a team in place to handle everything that Coral's going to need, as well as be timely and efficient for you.
Thank you. Because you have, as you probably know, we weren't real satisfied with Infomart for quite a while. I think things have improved. I expect things to continue to improve. I think we've got more focus than we had before. And so hopefully we keep up the work.
Yeah, I learned about that when I came on board.
Okay, I imagine you did.
So yeah, I've made a lot of effort to make sure we have adequate support across the board to support all of our higher level accountants and to identify where the issues were. I've had conversations with Coral and Dane a couple times, and I'm looking forward to meeting Colonel Boz so that we can continue to strengthen the relationship and make sure that we keep the ball rolling.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Carl, can you do me a favor? Can you check the last report that came out on the finances? The recreation services shows that we have spent approximately $820,000 in capital. And my understanding was it's going to be around 600,000, less than 600,000. So I was wondering what the other 200,000 or so was.
I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, thank you. Let me know. It's under recreation services.
Mr. General Manager, Mr. Bossert.
Well, good morning. And again, I appreciate the opportunity to serve the citizens of Sun and Lake and to work for the board. And to be clear, I work for the residents of Sun and Lake. You're my responsibility. I serve at the pleasure of the board because they can hire and fire me with 3 votes. So I got that. I understand that. No problem with that. But I do work for y'all. And what I would ask is that at all opportunities, if there's an issue anywhere in this district, please give me and this staff the opportunity to address it, try to fix it, and then I will inform my board what we've done about it to the best of our ability. I would ask that. Just give me that opportunity, please. Because if you keep going to the bosses all the time, I'll get it fixed. I'll work on it. I'd prefer not to continue to hear it from them. I want to hear it from y'all. So I just ask that. With our staff, 3 words followed me in my 40-year career in government service. We will be professional. We will be ready. We will be relevant. That's what I owe you. I owe this board for this entire staff, this 150 plus people. So that'll be my watchwords to my staff. And full transparency, attention to detail. I'm a big fan of that. We will go down the path. There's nothing broke in Sun and Lake. Nothing at all. There's some polish that needs to happen, and there's some strategic level planning that needs to get us outside the day-to-day operations. That's what we need to work on. Water treatment plant, wastewater plant, expansion of Sun and Lake. That type of stuff that I need the big brain power of my boards, this one, future ones, to put their energy on and let me and this great team here worry about the day-to-day minutia. That's my job. All right. So I ask, my door's always open, my phone's always on. My family, we've been military for 35 plus years. My wife and kids understand if I get a 2 a.m. call from your pool or your bar or wherever, and you want to chat, I will answer. Trust me, because I'm used to that. Because I want to get that ground truth from y'all, see what I can do with it, and inform my board. So I see a lot of great things happening. Please give me the opportunity to address some of the issues, some of the processes, some of the procedures that we do need to address. Not only do I come with a background in leadership, team building, and military stuff, I've been doing government city management for a few years. A very equivalent sized village in Wisconsin that had police, fire, wastewater, water, public works, everything, just like this place. So very comfortable in that environment, and I look forward to doing a lot of great things. There will be, what I would like to address for the board, sir, to give you an update. I'm a big fan of closing the loop. You all at your June meeting had a lot of do-outs that I feel sometimes we get remiss in trying to address and give you the clarity that question asked, answer provided. Not only for you all, but for citizens. So I'm going to quickly scan through those very quickly, but in the future, it'll be a document provided in a general manager's report. Also moving forward, not this month, starting next month, there will be an all-inclusive product that'll be the general manager's report, because you pay me to run all these folks. It'll be an all-inclusive product that summarizes everything we're doing in all our departments. You all will get that. It'll be posted online for you all to read, digest, critique, comment, because that'll show you what we're doing. We're doing a lot of God's good work on this in this district. It's happening. We're not messaging it enough. We're not telling you the goodness that's going on. And we're going to take advantage of forums like this, Facebook, mailers, whatever we need to do to get the message out, because this is a great place to live. You all know it. You all chose to live here. It's a great place to live. Let's be excited about it. Let's do the right things. Okay, so very quickly, we talked short-term rentals last month. That's a county issue. We have about 50 in the Sun and Lake District. What I'm going to work towards is a tracker working with the county of where they are, who they are. We have nothing to do with them, but they're the most problem areas when it comes to code enforcement. So I owe you that. We'll work with our county friends of how we track that. They collect the taxes for that, but there is a part of business that we need to worry about. The Hornick property, that's off Sun and Lake Boulevard. We do have a map created. I'll send that out. We'll post it online. There is some clarity that we need to have with Mr. Hornick on when it comes to the sidewalk, the infrastructure, the buffer zone between the golf course, some questions that were asked last month of a map and so on. I'll provide that, and you'll quickly see that for the potential of generation of over $350,000 in revenue for those home sites, as well as future assessments of close to $40,000, it's a win-win for Sun and Lake. But we will hold the developer accountable for what he needs to do to keep everything looking smart. We did approve the county and state emergency plan. Appreciate that last month. Cindy and I will start working on what is our Sun and Lake emergency response plan. Everything from communication to equipment that we need, that the next storm at whatever level, we are prepared to be able to fully function, as well as provide a safe and secure environment for our citizens. Mr. Brooks, you asked about riprap. We got about 40 tons of riprap on hand now. It's about a couple $1,000, about $4,000 worth. We don't need to buy any more. We're storing it at the yard over there, but we will look forward to how we can either collect some to keep it on hand, or come to you and say we don't need to spend any more this year, potentially next year, based on that amount. And that's what's mainly used for the golf courses. There was a discussion about a chipping area survey. Feedback right now, it's right now not required, but we will give you a sense of the utilization of that location. We'll figure out how to do that. It's being used. It's well liked. Some don't. Most do. But I know there's a continuing concern with the amount of money that we invested as a district. We owe you a little bit more fidelity on that, and I'll work on that. I'll sit with our council when it comes to the landowners meeting and the timeline and so on. That also goes to your draft resolution. To the point of your previous discussion, I have had no discussions with your interim on that product. The first meeting I will have on that product will be right after this with our lawyer. I will give you a quick analysis. I've worked with counties, I work with states, I work with federal government. I will give you a quick analysis of what we can do, because it will be us too going to that board to present what you all want. I'll give you a quick analysis. I'll see if it's ready for prime time, take it to the county quickly, and give you some feedback if it's worth our energy. Otherwise, we're just going to go through the path of the landowners meeting. We have the camera locations that was asked about. The procedures were being displayed in our district office. I'm going to put some procedures working with Bob on the SOP. I call it the standard operating procedure. When it comes to that, we are getting some good feedback on code enforcement with the cameras right now, specifically around this building. So we will be able to use those cameras to our benefit to hold people accountable. And I'm a big fan of holding people accountable. We have rules for a reason. We will hold people accountable across all the spectrum of things we need to do. Water meters installed, about 250 are being installed to date. The collectors are live, but we will be basically starting to collect that data real time at the end of this month so we can start the issue with the billing and so on that. FEMA, we've received some FEMA money. As the president mentioned, I did receive the RFP just yesterday. I'm reviewing it. It'll go to FEMA this week, or not FEMA. It'll go to RFP this week for bid out for the repairs on Columbus and some of the damaged areas. And hopefully we'll get that back and be able to execute that. Right now, FEMA is closely going to fund us close to 80 to 90% of that cost. So we're looking good on that. Valve checks are ongoing. We've done about 300 so far. We have into the thousands, but that's all being done in-house, and we're working on towards that to give you a good assessment of where we stand on our infrastructure network. Same with manhole inspections. Give you an update on that when it comes to infrastructure. Me being an engineer, that's close to my heart, so I'll make sure our infrastructure is not only assessed, valid, workable, but we need to plan for replacement in the near future for a lot of our infrastructure, so this place continues to be a great place to live. I know there's a question about a letter from the hospital on the manholes. I will meet with the hospital manager to see if that's a valid concern or issue. If it's truly, we need to get in there to give them peace of mind that they won't be broke, then I don't care about their landscaping. So I'll take care of that. I'll work on that with them, and we'll sort that out. We're working, updating the call roster for residents based on the last incident. Cindy's working that with some other individuals here. We'll get that updated, push out a notice to all individuals, and try to make that a more relevant product. Playground, you see it. My kids have played on it 3 times since we've been here. And that's why they left, because they were being dragged that way. So really like it. There are some quick tweaks we need to do with it. And having young kids, I quickly identify what's good and bad about playgrounds and other recreational areas. So we're going to talk staff-wise and bring to you all's attention possibly some additional seating, how the cameras cover the area, trash cans. My kids were on police call yesterday picking up trash because that's what they do when the daddy tells them to. So we got to get a better environment there to make sure it's not trashed. Street lights grants. I'm big about grants. At my last job, I brought over $1.5 million in grants from state and local funds. I'm a big fan of that. They're not difficult. They're just scared people. We'll get our due amount of grants that we need here for street lights, bike trails, all that fun stuff. The money is there. It's just a little bit daunting for some people to present that data, but we'll crack that code and work on it. And then the whole golf committee. I know you all, the charter, we've discussed it. Dan discussed it with their chair. I don't know how far you want me to take that. I'll just table that until there's a future discussion on that. Right now, the biggest issue is that's your pass. That's all your due outs. Again, I'll give that to you in a written format so you know that the answers have been provided to you all. To include this meeting here, we'll follow up every meeting with a due out list from my desk across the staff to answer your concerns, so you're not waiting 30 days for the next update. The biggest issue I'm working right now with my arrival is we have a lot of churn in our staff. We have about 7 positions that are empty right now. We've had 2 departures just yesterday as well as next week. Personal issues, family issues, no issues, no concern with the environment. It's just personal choices. So my focus with our HR folks is try to get the right people in the right seats to do the right job. And we'll work on that this week for you. The biggest concern I have right now is on our permitting department. It was Sunday departing yesterday. I'm working a tentative plan, working with Bob and our engineering firm to cover that, so we don't have a hiccup in that plan. So we should be covered, and then we'll assess the need for replacing that person one for one. There may be a dual use that we can do. And then there's a few other positions with our utilities and our security team and so on. The one issue that I'm working very hard with Bob, had a discussion this morning with him, and I continually hear it from supervisors as well as citizens, is our code enforcement. And I talked with our IT guys. We had a meeting. We're going to have another meeting. There is a very simple digital code enforcement platform that we should be using for the size of our community. It's simply the amount of time our code enforcement spends on paperwork is about 80% of their time. 20% they're out driving around. That's unacceptable. So we have a plan that there's a government website that we can use that a code enforcement officer using simply a tablet or an iPhone rolls up on a scene, takes a picture, hits a few drop downs, letters are sent, emails are sent, fines are sent, all from the comfort of the seat of his car while he's looking at the trash can or the fence or whatever. And that will eliminate a massive amount of backlog for us. I will get with our code enforcement folks. I'm not impressed at all with the amount of fines that we are submitting. We are code enforcing a lot of folks, slapping them on the wrists, and then they fix it, but we're not holding those repeat offenders accountable. So trust me, we'll get on that. We'll dig into that, and we'll put some enforcement teeth into that plan for the repeats. I got it if you mess up and you leave your trash can out one day. Got it. We'll help you out. We'll give you a little slap on the hand, no issue. But if you're doing it every week, every month, and we're just continually doing it, that's unacceptable. So we'll work on that. Other than that, again, I look forward to the time here. Great staff, great people to work with, enjoying the residents so far. And in the future, I will. Don't worry about it. And then great board. I look forward to working with all of y'all, continue to work with you. And again, anything you need, anything you want, find me, call me, drop in the office, come chat with me. I will drop everything. We'll have a chat. If you're bugging me, I'll politely say, hey, let's come back next time. But otherwise, we'll sort it out. That's all I got, sir, if any questions.
Thank you.
I got some questions.
Okay.
When is I know you're brand new, but do you have a due date the playground will be finished?
Right now, talking to Public Works this morning, the fence will be moved over. We're working on that. We're going to get some trash cans in there. So I guess completion, Cindy, is.
What's the fence? And I mean,
The only thing left
Yeah.
really to finish is the moving the fence from the old playground to the new one. Bob Brumfield has indicated that Brooker is not available till early September to get that done.
I agree, but I get asked so many times.
Yeah.
We started this a long time ago, and I just want to answer. If it's December, I'll tell them that. But we need to know these kind of things.
Yeah, we're looking at
Are
September.
the ones that get the answer to the questions, so that's fine. So you think maybe October we'll have a fence in?
September.
It might be done.
They're moving our existing.
Yes.
We can't put it in ourselves? No?
I thought we were.
We are clearing the area, going to resod it, gravel it out. But the physical moving of the fence, I'd prefer to contract that out because then it's guaranteed by the people moving it.
Okay.
If we start breaking up that old fence, we're going to have to replace it ourselves.
That was new, so again, that's.
Well, did we
I just need to know what's going on for the questions. That's.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And the sod on Columbus with the sidewalks.
I'd have to get back with you on that. Yeah, I know we just completed the sidewalk. We'll get an answer on the side.
Okay.
Yep.
And Boz, I have a list of stuff. I don't want to go over it here now, but I'd like to meet with you sometime when you get time.
Anytime, sir.
Because I have a lot of questions. So
Sure.
let me know when you can. So
All right.
that's all I have.
I just got two things, if I might. I understand the ARPA stuff is not going to be done till the end of the year. So I've been told. If that's true, I believe we have to contact somebody because I thought we had a year to get everything done, and I thought that was up in like August. Just to let you know. I don't know.
Yeah. ARPA, we have there's a 3-year window. We still have time for completion and expenditure of those funds. There's a reporting mechanism that the county is responsible for in the March timeframe. So based on the timeline that we have to utilize the money, we're going to be fully in compliance with any ARPA expenditures.
Okay, good.
Not worried about that.
The other thing was on Columbus, that extension with the FEMA stuff.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, FEMA did not, and correct me if I'm wrong, FEMA did not want to fix it the way we thought it should be fixed. So we're doing not a quick fix, but we're doing a fix that perhaps we wouldn't do if we were up to us. Is that correct?
FEMA's assessment is to put it back to the basic standard, not the standard that we installed.
Right.
When the RFP, that's why I'm just looking at it today, sir. The RFP, when it goes out, if there's an additional cost, example, FEMA is only going to pay for an inch worth of asphalt. That's unacceptable. We need to have at least 1.5 inches up to 3 inches asphalt. So, but that's all they'll pay for. So we will have to bring back to the board an additional cost if we want to bring it up to the existing standard.
Fine.
And that's
I
just
think
dealing with
we
the federal
should- I think
government.
you should.
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. Community Services Director, Cynthia?
I don't have anything else to add.
I do have one thing for you. A couple of people have come to me and the exercise room, they said it's not being kept up to the standards that perhaps they think it should be. They think the bicycles, one of them is not working correctly.
We have put money in the budget for next year to replace equipment in there.
I know, but should we wait until October if there's a problem?
Well, looking at what was funded for capital improvements this budget year for the playground and the other things we've gotten done this year, once we get the reimbursement money back from the county and from the state, there will be some extra money there. So if you want us to go ahead and do it with that money, we
Well,
can
if we
do
have a
that.
piece of broken equipment in there, I think we ought to replace it now, not wait. I mean, that would be my
Replace it or
call.
fix it, one of the two.
Huh?
Replace it or fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't wait for money.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
He said, if it's broke, get it out of there immediately before someone gets hurt.
Yeah, well, that's why, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Housekeeping, we have somebody in there who cleans it?
Yes. And actually, while the pool was closed last week, they did a deep clean, the whole room.
Okay,
every
well, I don't know
surface.
when this
Yeah.
person was in there last, so I really can't comment on that. Thank you.
Any follow-up items?
Nothing, sir.
New business? Discussion to and from the board?
I think we got to put the basketball conversation on next meeting.
True. We need to at least discuss it.
Yeah, but not today, next meeting. Next meeting.
At the next meeting.
Oh, and the other thing is, and this is for you, boss. I think we've gotten a report now on the water plant,
Yes.
on
Yes.
Drew's final report. So my question to you is, when and how are we going to address this?
Yeah, that's a great point, and I appreciate that. So the report was submitted that shows us our requirement and our potential costs that went in just this week. Once we get the blessing from the state that it's acceptable and those numbers match, the interim, sitting with Coral and some others, we're going to have to provide you what's the spend plan to get us there. Because we're going to only get a portion of that for funding. The state's not going to pay for it all.
Right.
A portion. I know you all have talked about a special assessment, trying to pile up some funds. We will present you the plan, the strategic plan that lays out that costs up until actual putting a shovel in the ground. And I look forward, probably give me about 30 to 60 days to present that to you all. And then we'll provide that plan. You guys will give me the blessing that this is it. Because we're still potential. The state could come back and say, just fix what you got, improve what you got, don't build nothing new. That's the feedback I'm waiting on. But they could say you make total sense based on your growth and your expansion, go with a new plant out past Cortez. So we owe you that answer. And it's really going to come down to not only have we raised rates, but I'll be honest, we're going to have to relook and look at a special assessment for just the wastewater. And you've talked about this before. And it goes into a restricted fund. No one touches it. It builds up because the day we push a dirt in, a shovel in the ground, we're going to start paying a loan off with no revenue being generated. We got to be prepared for that.
Right.
I'll present that plan to you all. Yep.
Okay, so I assume when you present that plan in 2 months, is that when we're going to decide? Because there was 4 options, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Well, what we're waiting on feedback from the state is what they recommend, what we presented them. They could eliminate a couple options saying, you need this.
The draft has been submitted
Yes, sir.
to this state revolving fund.
Check. Yes.
And they're going to be the ones to determine.
They're going to recommend. They don't determine, they recommend.
Recommend.
Yes, sir.
So they're going to come back and tell you, out of these 4 choices, one is good or they're all good?
They're going to rank them, saying we would recommend X, Y, Z, and because of that, we'll fund this level. That'll be enough information for y'all to make a decision. Pick the choice as well as pick the funding plan.
Well, I assume you'll pick the choice and we just need to approve it, since we're all
Well, sure.
qualified to.
If you want that. I can
think
do
so.
that.
I think it would be.
Yes, sir. I got you. I got you.
Was my understanding that we didn't pay anything until the end,
2 years
2
after.
years after.
What, once we select the option, once we assign a contractor to do the work, a bill will start being charged. Now, before that happens, we should be funded by a state grant. That'll help us in the beginning stages.
Okay,
But understand that grant is to pay straight to a contractor.
right,
That is not to pay off the loan.
right.
That's
Right.
what I'm worried about. We got to be ready to
Oh,
dump
I
$1
agree.
million
No.
a year for a loan,
Yeah.
not for the construction of the project.
I agree.
Well, more to follow when it comes to
So
the
it's not
plan.
2 years after we're done that we start paying, it's before then?
No, sir. Yeah, no, you could, no contractor's going to wait 2 years to get paid to start pushing dirt.
No, it was when we had to start paying the state back.
Well, yes, yeah, for the state grant part, the loan part, yes. I'm saying to get a developer, a contractor to sign up for this mission, we're going to have to pay something upfront.
Oh,
Yeah.
Again, more to follow when we lay it out,
Okay, all
once
right,
we get the
because
state feedback, yeah.
I was
yeah.
falsely, I guess, under the impression that somehow the state paid for that until such time as it was completed, and then we started paying the state.
And that could be based on the option that the state recommends.
Okay,
So I really, until the state gives me feedback of, if they tell us to spend 5 million and rebuild our old stuff here,
That's
we're going to be on the
So-
hook to pay that back.
It's possible that 3 years from now, we're going to have to pay, start paying.
Oh, yes, sir. No, it's not possible. It will happen. Yeah.
Oh, we're not even close.
Exactly right. That's why I need to provide you the spend plan of how to get successful there. So it's not impossible. We just got to lay it out now and be upfront about it. Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
Yep.
Greg, I just want to ask out there, we have a vacancy and we got 2 applications. Are either one, is anybody out there that we got these? Okay, can I see you after the meeting? Thank you, sir.
and you are? John? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Any other student from the board? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
How are we supposed to meet with these people?
You can either, you could,
Not bad at all.
yeah, you could do that. You can call them. You can call them now if you want and interview them, or you can wait until August 8th.
See, I'm not talking next week, and I want to talk to them.
Oh.
I just want to
Okay.
get it all set up.
That's not tying. No, we'll have to see how that ends up coming out. Oh, this is that sheriff report. The sheriff report from that guy
Yes,
that
I am.
had on the.
Oh. What is it?
Yes. Let me, I can. I'll make sure Darcy has your phone. And we can start.
Yep.
Where did this come from? Okay. I'm going to let you be the keeper of it.
Anyway.
And you can just keep bringing it out. I'll take this part. Yeah, yeah, because I have a book of it.
But we have your dad.
Who? Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
I got you. No, that makes sense.